Tonight's tactical enhancement is Monsuta. Tonight we're playing Warhammer 8th edition, 2500 points, Blood and Glory. This is the one where you start the game a little bit closer in, 9 inches from the center line, and no closer than 9 inches to the edge, so we'll get ready for Biffo. And it's a breakpoint thing, so once we're down to 3 breakpoints, we're fucked. And your breakpoint's determined by how many standards plus your general you've got there. So once we've taken out enough standards of each other, then the army just collapses. Sudden death. That'll be fun. Now it's 2,500 points, and it's my Dark Elves versus the army I always wanted to collect, was never insane enough to do so, but Mark is insane and has, well, on the table, at least 2,500 points worth of Chaos, Dwarves and Friends. Talk us through what you've got.
Okay, so I've got the hero level sorcerer. Sorry, the Lord level sorcerer here.
Alright, lovely.
So level 4 with Law of Hashut. Level 2 with fire.
Right.
BSB.
Right.
22 dudes with shields. 10 dudes with fire glaives. There's another unit of that. 2 units of hobgoblins.
These are interesting looking fellows. Very, well, you know, evil.
And then war machines. So we have an awfully placed magma cannon, a dreadfully placed iron demon, which they're going to have to move. But it's these boys that are going to do the damage, hopefully. So we have a hell cannon and the amazing looking Dreadquake mortar.
It's almost worth buying these motherfuckers just for that thing.
Yeah, and then I've got just 6 ball centaurs, full command and shield, so they're just an anvil unit.
Yeah, they look impressive though. So that's a good looking anvil. Well, that's nuts. I have no idea how the hell I'm going to fight this. We're going to give it a go. As for the Dark Elves, we've got 1 unit of Cold One cavalry that I put way out here on the flank when I first saw where the war machines were going. I'm not sure if I should do anything or if they'll just be a distraction for a turn or two. The rest of the army, these chaps are actually deployed in that the inn. I'll be shooting from the top windows. Then we've got 25, I think, of the Corsairs, just equipped 2 hand weapons, full command, and in there we have the army standard bearer. We've got their wood elf captive and Elvira, the level 4 mage. Next to that we have the whippersnipper of doom. That's the witch elves. They're frenzied and they all like to do their hair in henna because I'm a bit old school. We have 2 hydras backing up the rank and file, and over there in the hiding in the trees is the last unit of crossbow backed with a level 3 mage. We're using the Dark Elves, what's it, Law of Darkness, whatever the hell it's called. The one in the Dark Elf army book, just for something different. And we've got all the good spells. Now, it's worth noting, last time I fielded this army at 2,500 points, I was bitching and moaning because I got my ass handed to me by Andrew's Empire army. I always get my ass handed to me by Andrew's Empire army. That's been going on for decades. The flip side of that, though, is I realised this army is not very well balanced. It needs light cav and some infiltrators rather than as much magic investment, but I've not got off my ass to actually get those done. So I'm just going to have to suck it up and see what happens. Anyway, we will check in at the end of the first half of turn 1. Dark Elves got turn 1 and it was very underwhelming. The Cold Ones moved up just outside of shooting range of the fire glaives, and everything else moved forward as fast as it could. But then we completely fucked up the shooting. We took a grand total of 1 wound off of these big boys and nothing else works at all. And the first mage rolled shit and didn't even get the spell off. Second mage got spell off, but of course there was all those dispel dice, so that it didn't work. that was a whole lot of nothing. We'll check in at the end of the Chaos Dwarf turn 1. End of turn 1 for the Chaos Dwarves, and it's been a turn in 2 halves. The good half was that their magic was largely ineffectual. I think they just took 1 wound off one of the Hydras. They fired that flame cannon. These chaps misfired, didn't blow up, but it did ensure they didn't do anything. Then these fire glaives all fired and did nothing. The other half of the turn was that, well, those fire glaives over there took 3 wounds off the Witch Elves. We kind of expected that. But then these 2 monstrous motherfuckers reduced this unit from 24 Corsairs to a grand total of 6 Corsairs. 3/4 of that unit annihilated in 1 round of shooting. 2 hits landed right on target, which is rather unfortunate. There's usually good odds that they'll move somewhat. 1 in 3 chance, in fact, that they'll land on target, but they both landed on target. Just blasted the living Christ out of that unit. Can't march, can't...
No, that was the Ash Cloud. So they've just got dangerous, they're in dangerous and difficult terrain now.
Right, okay, so if we move the double, we could experience a difficulty. That hurt rather a lot. This is, I suppose, a lesson in the Chaos Dwarf army doing what Chaos Dwarf armies do. Now we'll see if we can do something suitably nasty and Dark Elfish back to them. Right, well, this requires some explanation, hopefully not to whoever is sponsoring this raid. Okay, so firstly, these chaps tried to charge these chaps, who shot and killed 2 of them on the way in, but they rolled so absolutely dismal in their charge, they didn't make it. That was frustrating. These ones ran forward, had 8 dice to roll, because it's dangerous terrain, and yeah, 2 ones later, I killed another 2 of my own guys. Also very frustrating. I did peel off the standard bearer, so reducing just how many guys you can kill if he lands artillery on that. Now, the Hydra and the Witch Elves both charged a 160 point unit of the Hobgoblins, who fled. But these 2 units actually did roll very high and killed the fuckers on the way in, even though they fled, and we caught up with them. That Hydra there was positioned in order to prevent these guys from countercharging in an unfavourable manner toward the Witch Elves. Which isn't great. I was actually hoping to get into the Hobgoblins, kill them, and then follow through. So fleeing with them was the correct thing to do. The shooters, they're actually in that building. They put some shots over here and did nothing. And for lack of anything better to do, the Hydra, which actually I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to do this because he did a charge. We did do the breath weapon attack on these guys and killed 6 guys in the end, actually. Or was it?
You killed 5 upstairs.
Killed 5, yeah. Which is actually pretty damn good. Wasn't expecting that. Anyway, that breath weapon is spent, assuming that we could use it there. Now, I moved these chaps up at the double, thinking I'd do some fancy magic. And I rolled 3 for the magic, so that's mage didn't do anything. Then this fucking mage used a power stone to get me up to 5 dice. Threw them all out of there, thinking I would do a big powerful spell that does 46 strength 5 hits on these chaps. And I rolled absolute dog shit again. So this was an absolutely wasted turn. This is terrible in every way. The only good thing that's going on here is I've managed to get my line so close that if, big fucking if, these template weapons deviate, they're just as likely to hit the Chaos Dwarf side as they are mine. I really do need them to misfire and blow themselves up, because losing almost that entire unit, including the 2 that I lost moving up due to the consequences of being shot by this earth-shaking thing, it's really nerfed my army. Look, I probably shouldn't complain too much. I mean, the sheer number of points put into war machines, I suppose statistically they fucking better do something or you feel very ripped off. But that doesn't make it any more fun being on the receiving end when I've lost 21 out of 24 of that unit. No, 20 out of 24 of that unit. God help me, that hurt. End of Chaos Dwarf turn 2. I won't say it's all going horribly wrong, but certainly a lot of it is. In the shooting, they took out 2 of the remaining 3 cold ones, which I suppose was to be expected. They were sitting there under the guns, having fucked up their charge last turn. An awful lot of charges happened. The hobgoblins went in and died of, lost a rank without killing anything.
The other Hydra died, didn't they?
Oh yeah, that thing, what's the name of that cannon?
Iron Demon.
Iron Demon came up and just, actually didn't roll that well, but
the D3 wounds was
the D3 wounds at strength 6 against the Hydra just obliterated the damn thing in one turn. He fired 2 templates, both of which deviated wildly and nearly hit his own guys. That was a reprieve. If that had not happened, I would be in all sorts of trouble. Though sadly, none of them have blown up. And these chaps discharged into the Witch Elves, who were unsupported because they had just barged all the way forward. And look, the Witch Elves and the Assassin, they jumped out and they did a few kills, 5 wounds in total. It's not bad against something that heavily armoured. But they lost 6 in return, of course, because these guys are charged. They had the Army Standard Bearer, and then I rolled crap for my morale twice in a row with the Battle Standard Bearer there, so they fucking fled. Ah, I can't get a break. Now, over here, we bumped off one of these monstrous cavalry, yeah, the Hydra did a bit average, to be honest with you. They didn't do great in return either, but the Hydra's probably going to die next turn now. And yeah, the spells, only one of them got off each. I tried to get a few off. I actually got a reprieve with getting 2 channels for my mages, so I stopped the really nasty shit from coming through that just would have obliterated everything in sight. But for one turn, that unit over there is fighting at -1 leadership.
And that's the rest of the game.
The rest of the game? Oh, yeah. That's nice, thanks for that. I suppose I can dispel it.
No, you can't. It's for the rest. It's not a remains in play. It's just for the rest of the game.
Oh, there's a finer point to the rules I probably should have paid attention to. Okay, so it's now turn 3 for the Dark Elves. It may turn out to be an early night. We'll see how it goes. So, I'm not quite sure how to beat this army, except to hope they misfire some of their weaponry and move really, really, really quickly into combat where you want to be. But who knows, maybe I'll pull some magic dice out of my ass or something. Right, nothing works very well still. This guy once again failed a charge. All he needs is a 7, and he can't roll a 7 to save his life on 3 dice. So he's sitting there under the guns again. In the magic, we bumped off a few of these chaps with a direct damage spell, and then we made these guys a bit weaker for a turn, so that was okay. In the shooting, well, they can't shoot. I moved them up thinking I was going to cast a spell, but that didn't happen in the end. Not that I got anything to shoot at anyway. These chaps are actually in the building. Took some shots out a side window and cleaned up 4 of them, but no panic test. In the melee, we bumped off another rank, but then they killed a couple in return. I'm actually very close to this unit just dying. It's worth noting my mage, level 4 mage here, miscast something and managed to lose one of our own spells, but it's fairly benign, so we didn't use the Earthing Rod. And in the melee over here, I did a grand total of 1 wound against them, and they did nothing to the Hydra because they were suitably nerfed. But it wasn't quite enough. They couldn't force a panic test or break test or whatever. We did rally the Witch Elves, but I have to say, this game is looking extremely marginal because they've lost their fucking standard bearer because they fled for a turn. No, I mean, the odds of me winning this are sweet fuck all at this point, but who knows, we may get lucky. End of Chaos Dwarf turn 3. By some miracle, I'm still holding on. The shooting of this fella didn't do anything by some miracle, I don't know how. In terms of spells, they got the axe failed off, which slowed them down a little, but not too much, and they boosted these guys' strength a little bit, but that didn't really matter. Shooting, one template, somehow managed to get these guys. I have to look at the finer points of that later, but at any rate, killed a bunch, but they passed their panic. There's no standards there, so it really doesn't matter. And the other one went after this, but misfired, and because it's a Chaos cannon, it hates its own crew. So next turns following, it rolls 3d6 and it's, was it? No, it rolls its
leadership fails, rolls 3d6, charges towards the nearest unit.
Yeah. Now it's worth noting that if this unit goes, I lose the game. That's also worth noting, if he loses his standards out of this unit, he loses the game. It's maybe 20% chance I can pull something out of my ass here. It's not looking too flash, but we'll have a go. Why the fuck not? Turn 4 for the Dark Elves. We'll check in after that. Right, end of Chaos Dwarf turn 4. Now, we've actually... No, not Chaos Dwarf. End of Dark Elf turn 4. So technically would get another turn. This one moved up, got a spell off, killed a few things, but not enough to cause panic tests. That spell was the level 6-1 big template, potentially could do huge amounts of damage, but yeah, they will pass the strength test except for one guy. In the melee, the Witch Elves were charged in the overrun from last turn when these chaps killed the Hydra, which was not surprising. The Hydra managed to fail all of its regen rolls all through the game, so they bumped it off. That happened last game too. And it hit them. The assassin killed one. I think it might have killed maybe one or two other guys with the Witch Elves. Armor saves were working rather well. The Witch Elves lost by a lot actually. When they hit back, they just rolled up a fucking storm. They had a +1 to their strength. And it was a massacre. So what's left of that unit, there's actually only one rank left. They're not coming back. I moved my remaining command units out of line of sight before I realised that those things can shoot indirectly, but I'm not too worried about that. The likelihood of actually getting and killing them is very minor. My remaining cold one guy finally, after 3 goes, managed to get a charge to work. Bumped off one bloke for the cannon, so we'd keep that busy for the rest of the game. Not that really matters at this stage. I suppose there's always the possibility you might get a shot through here, but the odds of that are very slim. That's it. I'm looking very threadbare for soldiers. We've decided to call it because it's coming up on pumpkin o'clock. This is a sudden death game, and there has been no sudden death, and there probably won't be in the next turn. It's quite likely that before the end of the game, these guys will get picked off by something. And look, I think the casualty piles speak for themselves. So I might try and console myself with the fact that technically, if it was a tournament, neither of us would win. But it's not a good day for that there is the casualty pile for the Dark Elves. Plus all of this lot, because none of them are coming back. I've got 10 shooters, a couple of chaps over here, one cold one, standard bearer, interestingly, 2 mages, an assassin, a standard bearer, and 1 dude left from that unit is holding on. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left in terms of the resilience. I could afford to lose 2 standards and still be in the game. So yeah, sudden death is not going to happen anytime soon for either of us. There's absolutely fuck all chance that I'd actually win. No, I lied. There is a chance I could win. I could just Yahtzee the fuck out of some spells, and you could roll terribly, lose that unit, and you'd lose. But that's it. That's what it would take. Yeah, let's not expect that to actually occur. Well, what have we learned?
I really badly placed the magma cannon. That kind of didn't do anything. I'll probably drop the hell cannon and have another infantry unit. I really want blunderbuss men, even though they're rubbish. I've printed one, so as a little test print. So he's going to be.
They do look great though, and look, I don't think they're shit. I think.
What do you think of the scale? I think they're about right.
Close enough. I'm just going to put extra shot at it. I mean, it's close enough. I think it'll look good. Yeah, I think even on a base, that'd still be perfect.
Yeah. So yeah, another unit of infantry. Drop the Hell Cannon. Probably drop the Hobgoblins because I don't want to paint them. Yeah, and I think that'll be a bit more themey then.
Yep.
You probably need one less mage,
yes.
one fewer mage, and maybe a couple of RBTs or something.
What are they?
The bolt throwers.
Yeah, I've got 2. I'm only going to do 2 for this army, even though it's a 4,000 point army, because I just don't like the battery of 4 Bofors gun on the back line. They would be good. They probably would have done something, I guess. Yeah, they would have done something. I was actually thinking dropping the level 3 mage and or dropping down to 2 level 2s and adding either a melee lord, or I need some sneaky things. That's what I decided last game.
Shades or something.
Shades to take out war machines, although that's rather difficult with your selection. But I figured a unit of shades and a unit of light cav that infiltrate would be a good trade-off for a level 3 mage. I'm still going to go fast and do all of this. I've had a few other games and projects going on, and I'm going bonkers with terrain building at the moment, so that's why I've been neglecting this army. And that probably would have helped. I don't think it would have been a game changer, but it would have helped.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that the thing that killed you was the first turn's perfect shooting of these 2 things. Because after that, they didn't really do that much. They wiped out that unit. But that first turn where they both were spot on.
But you know what? You kind of have to suck it up when you're up against a cannon army.
Yeah.
And if you hadn't done that, you'd have been so ripped off after the investment of points you put in.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, these guys survived.
Yeah.
It meant that I couldn't do flank attacks through there and kill, well, it's not there anymore, but do anything to that army there. But, you know what, actually, I can't complain.
Yeah. I think the dice were pretty even. You sucked at your Hydras always sucked, so they...
you know, they have worked before, just not lately.
Just not recently.
They couldn't make a save to save their life, and one of those Hydras just got blasted off the table with 1 round of shooting from one war machine.
Yeah,
that probably hurt me more than what you did to that unit.
Yeah.
In terms of game results.
Yeah.
But, you know, again, you had 4 cannon.
Yeah. And
another 20 shooters. I'd be, you know, you just got to suck up some casualties if that's the case. But I think...
But the Kaz Dwarves are pretty fun. I think once they learn to use them properly and don't have to read every single rule every time, I think they'll be quite fun.
They're tough as nails, I have to say.
And I quite like the fact, unlike some of my other armies, they do stuff in every phase.
Yeah.
So that's quite fun, rather than just moving like my corn army.
Yeah, look, I might have to take different magic against Chaos Dwarves because the stuff I was using, I could imagine it fucking up a human army quite well, but not so much the Chaos Dwarves. I knew what I was taking when I selected my spells, so that's just on me. Bit of food for thought there. I might have to reconsider what I do when I fight Chaos Dwarves, because they're an intimidating army. They're hardcore, they're very cool.
I think with another infantry unit, probably the blunderbuss, just because they're Chaos Dwarf blunderbuss. I think it would be...
you made it a blunderbuss unit, arcing up against the Witch Elves. There'd be no fucking unit there one around to shoot.
But they only have the 12-inch shot, but do you know the rules for them?
The more ranks you got, the more damage they do, right?
Well, no, that's the old one. So this one, every model in the unit can shoot, and they all do D3 shots, but you roll 1d3 for the unit. If you've got more than 10 models, half range doesn't matter. If you've got more than 20 models, you re-roll wounds.
Well, that's a shredder right there.
But it's only 12 inches, so it's basically like an old school Hellblast.
But can they stand and shoot?
Yes.
Alright, so in other words, they will shut down a charge of anything short of a fuck ton of knights. Yeah. Right, well, yes, okay, well, I know technically I didn't lose, but I think, you know, in principle.
It's fun. It's nice to use an army, because no one really, I don't think I've ever played with or against Chaos Dwarves, so.
No, that's the first. I think Emilio's brought some, but they were mixed in with a whole bunch of other things and they weren't based properly because it sort of worked. But that was the first time I've seen a proper, full-blown 4-year-old army. And it was impressive. It did what it was there to do.
Cool.
Well, okay. Thanks for watching. Hit like, subscribe, tell your friends, and time to call it a night.